Good day, everybody. Meteorologist Mark Muller here. As always, I want to thank you for joining me for this edition of Weather Eastern. We have a lot to talk about today. Major severe weather in the Deep South, so we're going to go over all the details regarding all of that information. Tornado outbreak, damaging wind, large hail, everything imaginable from Texas sweeping on eastward across the Deep South through your Tuesday as well into Wednesday. So let's get into all the details. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. There are a question or comment section down below. Go ahead and question or comment. I love to read your questions or comments and respond to them. Also, there's timestamps down below if you wish to skip ahead. Let's get into this thundery edition of Weather Eastern. All right, taking a look at the big trouble spot, and we basically got the severe weather outlook overlaid here with the surface map and temperatures. Take a look at this. Is Tuesday. Major severe weather outbreak here across Louisiana into Mississippi and Alabama. So this is, it's going to start off here in eastern Texas as well, Houston area. You'll be dealing with it really early morning hours. That progresses throughout the day. The moderate threat, that rare variety threat here into the red, tornado threat, especially across central part of Louisiana into part of Mississippi, central and southern Mississippi, and then towards evening here, Birmingham through New Orleans as this line heads east with these supercells. It'll become more of a squall line once it reaches the panhandle of Florida over towards Alabama. So I'll show you that in the NAM 3 kilometer here momentarily. And then we've got plenty of moisture here, dynamics moving in, low pressure. We got double barrel low, this warm front where things can really start to rotate along these warm fronts, and a sharp cold front as well. So eastern Texas, Houston, you'll be dealing with severe weather through about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 a.m. here before it continues to move east into Louisiana. So let's take a look at, as this kicks off to the east, Wednesday we'll be dealing with this enhanced risk here across the panhandle of Florida, up through central and eastern part of Georgia into South Carolina and North Carolina. Slight risk here in a widespread area into the yellow zones. Of course, it's going to start as a squall line here across parts of Georgia and the panhandle of Florida and then head east throughout the day. Of course, there'll be a diminished threat the further north and east you head here, but we still think there could be some strong cells here in parts of Norfolk down to Raleigh, and then some making its way towards evening and overnight Wednesday night here, especially down from Tampa on southeastward here. But there you have it. So this continues to move east into Thursday. We finally kicked this off to the east, and much cooler conditions ensue behind it. All right, taking a look at Texas here Monday night into early Tuesday morning. That tornado threat continues here across Texas and continues throughout the night. So these will be nocturnal. If you have a no weather radio, anything to alert you of some of these cells that could produce tornadoes, extreme damaging wind, and it kind of back builds here. You can see just west of Houston. So things are really going to start to get cranking just before sunrise here. Some of these could produce tornadoes, these supercells embedded within this main line here in eastern Texas. And look at this, what is just west of Houston. Here's sunrise. As you're waking up in Houston, you're going to hear some loud thunder here on the western and northern side of you. And some of these could produce tornadoes even into the early morning hours. As we head throughout the day here in Louisiana, that's where things really get cranking. You can almost see two squall lines here, supercells embedded here west of New Orleans by this time, noon on, and this is on Tuesday. So that continues into Mississippi and southeastern Louisiana as we approach sunset time frame here. Look at that. So we get these supercells continuing. New Orleans, it looks like a broken line, but it really starts to solidify here towards sunset. All right, so continuing that line here into the southeast, this is early Wednesday morning. See these cells continuing here as we approach Alabama in the crosshairs here, continuing with the damaging wind, large hail. Isolated tornado threat is still there as we approach Pensacola and Panama City here. Take a look at this as we get towards noon hour on Wednesday here. Look at this. So cells across Georgia, the panhandle of Florida, extreme southeastern part of Alabama. And we continue this as we get towards sunset here. Here we go, Wednesday evening, heading towards midnight Wednesday evening into early Thursday morning here. We have this conveyor belt of stronger cells here. So damaging wind, large hail, cannot rule out a tornado threat here as well. So here we go. We're taking a look at surface-based CAPE This is Central Texas. This is late Monday evening. Look at this. Cape in excess of 3,000 joules per kilogram. This is going to feed this instability for this tornado outbreak going across central and eastern Texas. Now you see this starts to wane a little bit to the northwest here as we start to get a resurgence here across south central Texas throughout the night. So as we head towards midnight Wednesday or Monday night here, take a look at this. 2,500 joules per kilogram here. This convective available potential energy. It's very, very juicy air here. You can see the boundary here. So this is going to what's really continue to spark off this line throughout the night, this instability. And even throughout the night, we don't really fall below 1,500 here in the Houston area northwestward. We're getting isolated areas over 2,000. And this continues throughout, and then we hit into Tuesday. Look at this. So this keeps this line going. Nocturnal storms throughout the night, eastern Texas, and then we get into Louisiana. This is noon on Tuesday. Look at this. In excess of 2,000 Cape here in New Orleans, and it's just north of New Orleans. That's where the worst, the horrible storms are going to be that produce all these tornadoes throughout the day on Tuesday. And look at that. Throughout the Tuesday evening hour, we continue here, 2,000, 1,300, all this air off the Gulf of Mexico. That's what's helping supply all this instability. And that continues to the east here. You can see here as we head into Wednesday morning, that instability continues to a certain extent the panhandle of Florida here. It's not as great up here in Alabama, but it will keep the squall line going. And we'll have some of those individual cells. You can see up to 1,400 west of Atlanta here. Panhandle staying around 500-600. That's enough to keep some cells going, and that continues throughout the day. Wednesday night into Thursday here, we get some of this instability getting into the Carolinas. Here we go. Let's take a look at the significant tornado parameter. This is great for seeing what the chances are of these tornadoes developing. You can see here, if you get above a 3, you're really getting into territory that's really dangerous. And look at this, 4.6, 4.1. Some of these values are just insane. And this continues. Take a look at midnight, Monday night here. This is crazy. 5.2, 5.6. There's going to be some really, really bad night here northwest of Houston here. So this is between Austin and Houston. This is a really bad area to be in tonight. Don't think it'll be as far north enough here of Linden in northeast Texas, but it's going to be close. This is insane. This is if you got any warning system to keep you going throughout the night, definitely want to utilize that because these are going to continue throughout the night. Nocturnal tornadoes, very dangerous. And we still continue at like 2.5. Look at that, 2.2, 2.6. This is right before sunrise, a couple hours before sunrise. The worst of it, thankfully, goes north of Houston. So we get towards sunrise. It's going to be east central Texas here. Look at this, 3.1 right near Louisiana border. We head throughout the day. Look at this. We're approaching noon hour on Tuesday, and look at this. Values of more than 3.5 heading into Louisiana and parts of Mississippi here. So this tornado threat continues east as the rotation of these thunderstorms continue, and we even get some values here later in the afternoon near New Orleans as we get this line converging on the area, and the greatest risk of tornadoes becomes southeastern Louisiana and southern Mississippi. As we head throughout the night, Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning, and then you see that kind of fizzle ever so slightly here to the east. So if we head into the southeast here, this is where we can get into the continuation. We head towards the panhandle of Florida. This is for your Wednesday. Look at that. We even get some values up here, 1.4. This isn't a tremendous, this isn't enough for a tornado outbreak, but isolated tornadoes for your Wednesday morning here, a possibility, and we get some higher values in North Georgia here. That's a little bit away from the best dynamics, though. So we head into, there it is, early Thursday morning, maybe a small threat here in the Carolinas. Well, let's take a look at the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast here. High pressure and dominant control here on Monday, obviously Tuesday as well, and look at that. We head into Wednesday. So we start to get some of these elevated thunderstorms in the Ohio Valley and some rain showers here in portions of western New York and western Pennsylvania. Eastern Ohio, we get some convection right around just after sunset here, just east of Cleveland. So some of these stronger thunderstorms could contain wind gusts to 40 miles per hour. We get quite a bit of convection here Thursday morning as well. And we start to see some of this resurgence here across the mid-Atlantic. I think Thursday, south of D.C., Delmarva on southward. These cells really start to fire. These, thankfully, will be more just plain rain with some embedded thunder showers. And here across the Northeast, I wanted to briefly show you what's going to happen. You take a look at this. This is later Wednesday towards midnight, Wednesday night. We start to get some mixing going on, so we get those embedded thunderstorms here in western New York and Pennsylvania. And that mixing occurs. We might have a couple inches here in northern New England late Wednesday night into early Thursday morning, and that slowly tapers off towards later Thursday here, and we get a burst of, you see another low pressure here moving through, and that kind of moves up into the Northeast. We might get a burst of heavier snow Friday morning in places like Bangor up to Caribou. Tuesday across the Northeast, looking at a nice day. We'll have one last nice day of sunny skies here across the Northeast before we bring in this rain from the west. You see the front kind of behaving itself for the time being here with this low across Washington, D.C. Start to see some showers pick up towards after 4 or 5 p.m. here in Cleveland, maybe picking up to a tenth to a quarter inch. Temperatures will be on the rise here, 53, like I said, in Binghamton, 61, in Harrisburg, 62, in Pittsburgh, and then we bring in the rain, probably a half to 3/4 of an inch of this overrunning that's occurring north of this stationary front here across Pennsylvania and into Maryland. And then severe weather here, I think it'll stay pretty much south of Washington, D.C. and Atlantic City, where the air will be much more stable here north of the front. South of this front, that's where we get into damaging wind, large hail threat. Wet snowflakes mixing it into the Adirondacks, again into parts of Vermont. And look at that, probably a tenth to a quarter inch here from Binghamton, Albany on northeastward with this rain. And temperatures will be held down into the 40s in this area. Thursday, we get this front wrapping up across the area from the south. This is that same system that caused all the severe weather down south. So we'll see some wet snowflakes here, maybe a couple inches up here in northern Maine, but for the most part, the big story will be the rain, especially into the darker green, probably a half to 3/4 of an inch, about a tenth to a quarter inch here into the medium shade green. And temperatures will be on the rise, 63 in State College, 56 in Binghamton, 68 in Harrisburg, and 60 degrees in Scranton. Still with the northeast wind here in New York, keeping the marine layer alive at 57, and only in the 40s here in northern New England. Extended outlook from hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton's upper Susquehanna region of upstate New York into northeast Pennsylvania, Tuesday through Saturday. Take a look at this. Tuesday will be our last nice day across the area. 53 degrees, sunny skies, and then clouds increase towards sunset. For Wednesday, we get up to a quarter inch of rain, especially later in the day, up to 47 after a cold low of 27. And then Thursday, conditions turn windy. We'll have some morning rain, up to a quarter inch possible. And then Friday and Saturday, we continue with that showery pattern, clouds, low clouds, fog, 55 degrees, and cooling down to 49 for your Saturday. And as always, I want to thank you for joining me for this edition of Weather Eastern. Don't forget to give my Facebook pages some love. It's Meteomark. Also, Weather Northeastern. Also, my hurricane page at Hurricane Northeastern. Also, you can visit me on Twitter at Weather Eastern and Meteomark.com and WeatherNortheastern.com. Don't forget to leave a question or comment down below, smash the like button, and share the video.